Hello everyone, I am Professor Sachin Mohan Gage from Sanjivani KVP Polytechnic Kopargaon. Welcome all of you in Sanjivani Lecture Management System. In today's lecture, we are going to see the application of electrolysis. In previous lecture, we studied the mechanism of electrolysis. Electrolysis is a simple in which the electrical current is allowed to pass into the electrolyte, and when the electrical current is passed and in presence of electric current, the electrolyte will get ionized. It will get ionized into the ions. So under the influence of the electrical field, the cations, they are attracted towards the oppositely charged electrode, that is your cathode, and at cathode the electrical discharge take place. At cathode always the gain of electron take place, that is called as the reduction. So the metallic cation which are present in a electrolyte, when they are rich at the surface of the electrode, then it gain the electron and they are deposited as a metal. For example, copper plus ions which is present in electrolyte like your copper sulfate solution accept or gain the 2 electron from the cathode and deposited as a copper. So at cathode the metals are deposited, or if the H plus ions are present, then the hydrogen gas get liberated. Always at the cathode primary reaction take place, but in case of your H plus ion, at that time the second reaction also take place. Similarly, at anode the anions which are present in a electrolyte, they are attracted towards the anode, and anodic discharge means the anodic reaction take place at the anode. The anion lose the electron means gives the electron, and therefore the oxidation reaction is always take place at the anode. Primary as well as the secondary reactions are occur at the surface of your anode compulsory. But anodes are of two type. The first one is the active anode and the second one is the inactive anode. Active anode in the sense anode which are connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and when they are deep in its own salt solution are said to be active. For example, copper plate or the copper electrode which are connected to the positive terminal of the battery means the copper anode when they are deep in copper sulfate solution are the example of the active anode. In that case the anions does not give the anodic reaction. In that case the anode itself undergoes the oxidation reaction, and anode always gives the reaction. But if the anode is a passive or inactive, in the sense if they are not deep in its own salt solution, at that time the anion gives the reaction. So let us start with the application of electrolysis. The first application of electrolysis is your electroplating. Electroplating in the sense we studied the process of the metal coating on the articles. For example, hot dipping, example galvanizing or the tinning. These are the example of coating of the metal, that is the one metal over the another metal, that is your base metal. Similarly, electroplating is also the method of coating the metal onto the article, that is onto the base metal. Only the difference is that in a galvanizing or a tinning the principle of hot dipping is used, in which the metals are heated to its melting temperature, and in a molten state the article they are just dipped into the molten metal, and you will get the formation of a very thin layer of the metal on the base metals. Here the difference between the hot dipping and the electroplating is that here the principle R is used, the passing the electrical current into the electrolyte, then it produces the metallic coating of that metal onto the base metal. Here with the help of electrical current we pass the electrical current, and allow to happen the mechanism of the electrolysis. So what is electroplating? Plating in the sense coating of the metal, the coating of the metal onto the base metal or onto the article. So what is electroplating? Electro means electron, that is the flow of electron is nothing but the electrical current. By passing the electrical current we can coat the metal, that is called as the superior metal, onto the inferior metal, that is your base metal. So electroplating in the sense the process of producing metallic coating of more resistant metal. More resistant metal, the example of the more resistant metal here, the more resistance metal, this term is related to the corrosion resistance, the metal which are having the property or the metal which are more corrosion resistance. So generally in a electrochemical series we studied that the inactive metal or the metal which are placed at the bottom of the activity series, for example the silver, gold, nickel, chromium, etc., these are the more corrosion resistance metal. So producing the coating of the such metal on the base metal, in the sense your article, which we are going to protect it from rusting and the corrosion with the help of passing electrical current, are called as the electroplating. So what are the purpose of the electroplating? Why we are going to conduct the electroplating? The reason is very simple. The first one is the protection. We are going to protect our base metal, that is your article which is inferior one, from the rusting and the corrosion. The second one, decoration, to make the article decorative, to make a decorative article. For that purpose we are going to do the electroplating, especially in imitation jewelry. And the third one is your for repairing of the broken pieces of the machine part. Sometime what happen during the life of the machinery or during the working of the machinery, what happen, mostly the part of the machine get broken. Okay, it is due to the, say for example, it is due to the friction or abrasion or the wearing. So such type of the parts, broken part or the broken pieces of the machinery can be repaired by the electroplating process. In most of the cases what happen, we are going to achieve the specific properties, for example electrical conductivity or the wear resistance, and for that purpose we are going to do the electroplating. So this is the purpose or the uses of the electroplating, and this is the diagram or this is the setup which are used for the electroplating. So especially in a mechanism of electrolysis we studied that we have a electrolytic cell in the sense where the electrolysis reaction is carried out. For example here the beaker is the example of your electrolytic cell. We have the electrode, that is the two electrode, and then battery and the electrolyte. Here the copper sulfate is the electrolyte, the beaker is a electrolytic cell. The copper electrodes are taken, they are immersed in a electrolyte and they are connected to the terminal of the battery. One is connected to the negative and the second one is the positive terminal. So the first electrode is your cathode, which are connected to the negative, and the second is your anode, which are connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So what we are going to do, we are going to pass the electrical current from the source into the electrolyte. So let's see the process. Now what happened, the article which is to be plated, we are going to first of all clean thoroughly, because what happened, your article may contain the grease or either the dirt. So what happened, we are going to we are going to subject that article for the cleaning process. So that article is cleaned thoroughly by hot solution of alkali. Hot solution in the sense we are going to take a alkali, for example sodium hydroxide or the potassium hydroxide, that is nothing but your base. Hot solution in the sense at a temperature of 60 to 90 degrees centigrade, in the sense we are going to heat them, almost we can boil them. At that temperature we are going to clean that article by dipping that article into the hot solution of the alkali. If the alkali is not available, you can use the soap solution. So what happens when we are going to dip that article into the hot solution of the alkali or either the soap, here whatever the dirt or the grease which are present on that article is get removed. Then take out that article from that hot solution, then it is treated with the dilute acid so as to remove the other impurities if they are present on that article. So treatment of dilute HCl, that is your acid, are said to be a pickling. Okay, so if any impurities, other impurities are present on that article, we are going to wash with the dilute HCl. That process are said to be a pickling. Okay, and finally they are washed with the water. Okay, so as to remove the acidic impurities on the articles, and finally it will polished carefully. So with the help of polish paper, we are going to polish the surface of that article, and that polishing should be carefully done carefully. So you will get a article with a clean surface and the smooth surface. Now the clean article is then suspended into the electrolytic cell and make as a cathode. So the article, in the sense the metal that we are going to protect it from rusting and the corrosion, is always made as a cathode. And when such an article they are polished carefully, then that article they are dipped in a electrolyte and they are connected to the negative terminal of the battery and made as a cathode. The anode is a pure plate of metal whose coating is given on the surface. Now we are going to take a anode. Anode is nothing but the anode may be taken in the form of, say for example, plate or either the rod, blocks, whatever it may be. So the whose coating is to be given, the metal that is your superior metal whose coating is to be given on the article, that plate, that metal, they are taken in the form of the plate, and that superior metal they are made as a anode, in the sense they are connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and both the electrode they are suspended into the electrolyte. The electrolyte consists of the salt solution of respective metal. So here we are going to take the the electrolyte which are the own salt of that particular metal. For example, in the example we are going to see how that electrolyte is taken. So the own salt solution, that is your electrolyte, is taken for that electroplating purpose. On passing electrical current, the metallic ion get deposited on article, means on your cathode, which is made as a cathode, and the same amount of anode get dissolved in electrolyte. The same amount of anode get dissolved in electrolyte, in the sense here the anode is the example of the active anode, and that's why the anode they are participated in a chemical reaction, that is the electrical discharge, because the metal they are dipped in its own salt solutions. A smooth and a brighter deposit is obtained on the article, so that process are said to be a electroplating. So that can be explained by taking the example. Here is the example of the plating or the coating of silver on your spoon article. So what happened, here we are going to take one example here. Sorry, yeah. So here this is the article that which we want to protect it from rusting and either the corrosion. So this is the article which is made from the steel or either the iron, that is called as the iron spoon or either the steel spoon. Okay, this is the example of the silver plating on the iron spoon. Okay, so here we are going to take a pure strip of your silver metal. So here the silver metal plate or the strip or either the rod is taken, and the corresponding salt solution, in the sense the salt of your silver is a silver nitrate solution. Okay, especially for the silver plating we use the another electrolyte, means the best suitable electrolyte for the silver plating is potassium argentocyanide and not the that is your silver nitrate. Okay, so they are dipped in its own salt solution, and in earlier we studied that the article they are made as a cathode, in the sense they are connected to the negative terminal of the battery, and here the silver plate they are connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So this one is your silver anode, and this article are said to be a cathode, on which we are going to apply the coating of your superior metal. So this one is a superior metal and this one is your inferior metal. We are going to protect it from rusting and the corrosion, and this is the salt solution called as the own salt solution. So this anode are said to be active anode because they are deep in its own salt solution. So first of all, this iron spoon is get washed or clean with the hot alkali or either the caustic soda so as to remove the dirt or either the grease, and then it is washed with the dilute HCl called as the pickling, and finally it is washed with the water, and we are going to polish them polished that article with a very care. So after polishing, these article they are dipped in a electrolyte and made as a cathode, means they are connected to the negative terminal of the battery. Here the silver we are going to coat the silver metal on to the base metal, that is onto the article. So here we are going to take a pure metal plate of your silver, and that silver plate they are dipped in in its own salt solution called as the potassium argentocyanide, and formula of that potassium argentocyanide is KAgCN twice, and they are made as a anode, means they are connected to the negative terminal of the battery. By passing electrical current, what happen, the according to the reaction here, what happen, once we pass the electrical current into the electrolyte, at that time what happen, this potassium argentocyanide, that is your electrolyte, it will get ionized into K plus and AgCN2 minus. AgCN2 minus, again it get ionized into the Ag plus and the Cn minus. As it is an aqueous solution, so it contains the water, and water get also ionized into the H plus and OH minus. So in the electrolyte we have the three types of the cation, K plus, Ag plus and the H plus. But according to the electrochemical series, the metallic cation which are placed at the bottom of the activity series will give the first electrical discharge, means the cathodic reaction. And we know that the silver cation which is a less active, that is your inactive metals and more corrosion resistant superior metal, so that's why they gives the reaction at the cathode. So what happen, when such a silver Ag plus ions, when they are migrated toward the article, at that time it accepts the electron, and there is a formation of the silver which are deposited on the surface of your here the Ag plus which are attracted toward the cathode. Here the gain of electron, that is the cathodic reduction reaction take place, and here a silver plating or the coating or a film of silver is formed or deposited on the surface of the electrode. Okay, so continuously, as the anode is active and they are deep in its own salt solution, at that time they are dissolved in a electrolyte and producing the more number of H plus ions and lose the electron. So silver, that is your anode, undergoes the oxidation and supplies the electron to the battery. This battery gives the electron to the cathode, where the Ag plus accept the electrons from this cathode and they are deposited as a silver. So here the reaction is given. So here what happen, as the anode is active, so silver they are dissolved in a electrolyte and producing the more H plus ions, and it lose electron, that is the oxidation reaction. Cathode, in the sense your article, at article Ag plus accept the electron and there is a formation of the silver. So silver is deposited on your article and producing the film or the metal coating of your more corrosion resistance metal onto the, that is your superior metal onto the base metal. So in this case the coating of the superior metal on the inferior metal take place. So here we are going to see silver plating on iron spoon. Electroplating of the silver on iron spoon is carried out in an electrolytic cell, that is your beaker. Iron spoon which is to be electroplated is cleaned thoroughly by boiling with the caustic soda or either the alkali so as to remove the grease and the dirt. Further it is washed with the water until they are free from the caustic soda or either the alkali, and then it is washed with the water and carefully polished. The iron spoon is then made as a cathode, and anode consists of the silver metal plate. the anode and the cathode both are suspended in a electrolyte, that is the electrolytic cell, which containing the electrolyte your potassium argentocyanide. On passing electrical current, the ion spoon get plated with smooth and brighter deposit of the silver. Silver anode slowly dissolved in a solution by producing the Ag plus ion. The schematic representation is shown here. So this is the setup for the electroplating, and this is the schematic representation of the reaction. The question for you that why we are not using the silver nitrate, why mostly the electrolyte, that is your potassium argentocyanides, are prepared for the silver plating. This is the homework, or this is the one question for you student. Please find out the answers. So this is all about the application of the electrolysis, that is your electroplating. In the next lecture we are going to see the second application of the electrolysis, that is your electro refining. Thank you for today's lecture. We will meet in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.